So I don't want to waste 3 hours in practicals and nonsense. So I want arts. Next day morning, the principal shifted me to arts. Next day morning, 7 o'clock, the first lecture was there. I was ready for the first lecture. I sat there and the professor started talking in Marathi. Coming from Loyola, a convent-educated school, and I had to write in Marathi was really difficult. Although my surname is Jadhav, but I cannot write in Marathi. I can speak Marathi, and that was a big challenge for me then. Again, I went to the principal. I said, "No, now arts is again a problem. I have to go to commerce." So that was a terrific session, the 3-day session that happened with me, and my parents did not know about all this. And then after I got into commerce, I went to my parents and said, all these things have happened. My parents were in a state of shock. They said, the only son, they've lost him. That is the exact, and my mother was in tears. She was crying at almost 3 days. I had dreamt that you were going to be an engineer like your father, you're like your grandfather. Now you're not even a science stream. I thought you would graduate from science. And it was like, the khandan khatam ho gaya, something of that sort. And then commerce was easy. One day you read and you pass through. My whole attention was MPSC exams, UPSC exams, and football for that matter. In that, there are two branches in this story now. FY, there's a Gujarati friend of mine who used to ask me, because I had a bike, he used to ask me to go to Deccan Gymkhana State Bank. And every once a week or once in 2 weeks, he used to ask me, "Chal na bank jaake aate." Why? I never asked him a question, but I used to go there. He used to take that 10,000 bundle note, 100 rupees bundle, 10,000 rupees. He used to go to the bank and come. I thought he used to put in the, what do you call it, saving bank or something of that sort. I never questioned him. But after 3 months or 4 months, I inquired, "Ki kya karta hai tu? 10,000 हमेशा डाल के, and 10,000 in 1990 was a huge sum." So I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "मैं share लेता हूँ." I said, "Share लेता है? You know what stock market is all about?" And he said, "No, my father knows it." मैंने कहा, "तो मेरे को भी बता." So we went to his parents and to his father. He explained me what stock market is all about, and I asked him, "So if we invest in the stock markets, like in the IPO, what is the kind of returns that you get?" He said, 3 months may double. And it was a shocker for me, for the simple reason, my parents had told me, Indira Vikas Patra 5.5 years double. So 3.5 may double ho sakta hai was itself a big news for me. I suddenly remembered 50,000 donation in Sangli. So I went to my parents, 50,000 de do. And that is where that seed capital came in. And I'll interrupt. But the seed capital came in. With the help of my friend's father, I put in a lot of IPOs. Luckily for me, the first 4 IPOs I can still remember. First one was Namtek Electronics, Sri Pre-Coated Steel, Grand Foundry, and I forget the 4th name. But all of them listed at 200 plus. At par, 200 plus. The kind of money I was sitting on in the next 6 months was huge. I returned this money to my parents. When I returned this money to my parents, my father asked, "What do you do with it?" No, I said, I have a lot of money with me now. Then he was again in a big question. What am I doing with this money? Am I into wrong hands? And then I explained to him that this is stock market, and suddenly even he was influenced and he gave me more money, and then the whole family started dabbling with the stock market. So that was one part. Along with this, graduation was going on. MPSC I passed with flying colors. So last year, MPSC I passed, and it was a PSI exam that I passed. So I was enthusiastic. I said, "Now police inspector." Okay, so and what happened was I passed all the levels, and then I had to do this physical exam. Being a football player, athlete, there's no problem at all. There were pull-ups that I had to do. After the pull-ups, I have to sign somewhere. So I went to sign, and I just saw someone who was sitting where I had to sign that I have completed the whole thing. He was my mama. He was the commissioner there. And he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, I've passed through this. He said, you should not be here. You should be IPS, not PSI. Get out. And I was pushed out. After passing out all the exams, I was pushed out. I came crying at my place, and I actually cried because I had done everything to pass through it, and it was a lot of efforts that I had put in. Acha, I did not know what PSI is and what IPS is, but at that level, to pass through all these exams and at the first go was itself a good achievement. The only thing that was left was Nashik, where I had to finish my training, the police training. But my mama ensured that I was not to be in the police, and I thank him today. At the same time, now this money was growing, and what happened was the broker whom I used to go to sell this IPO, the shares that were allotted, he was a very good gentleman, a Maharashtrian, Mr. Karkhanis, CS Karkhanis. He has his office at Deccan Gymkhana, named as Deccan Investment Center. Deccan Investment Center, yeah. We used to go and sell these shares. So he knew I was into this. So he asked me, why don't you invest in the secondary markets? I said, what is secondary markets now? I didn't know about this. So he said, where you sell, someone else buys, and that is what is secondary market. Is it? I said. And then then he said that now that you have a good amount, you should invest in the secondary markets. I said, okay, I'm okay with investing in the secondary market. I said, you suggest some shares. He suggested me 4-5 scripts, out of which 4 I remember. First was ACC, second was HDFC, third HDFC, not HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank came later. I'm talking about 91 now, 1991. The third was SCICI, and fourth is ICICI, ICICI Limited, not ICICI Bank either. 4 stocks, it was 5th stock, I don't remember the 5th stock. 5 stocks is what I invested, 1 lakh rupee each. Okay, and it was physical shares that used to come again and again. For the next 6-8 months, the shares were not being transferred into my name. So I was really irritated on that. And I didn't know where to look at the share price also. So I was so ignorant because I was busy playing my state level football. The investment was going on, I was playing football and doing my studies. It so happened that after a year or so, the shares finally came with my name encrypted on it. I got very excited. I ran to Mr. Karkhanis and said, finally, the shares that are in my name. He said, you are so lucky. I said, why? The purchase price of ACC that I had done was at around 250-280 levels. The day the shares got listed on my name and I went to Karkhanis, that time it was 9,000 plus. To be very honest, I knew nothing of the stock markets. This was all destiny, you can call. 9,000 bucks, 250 I had purchased a year back. Today it is 9,000. And a huge kind of money that I am sitting with. He says, क्या करना है? क्या करना है? बेच डालो, और क्या करना है? So I sold it, and now I was sitting on a huge pile of cash, wherein I felt as if I'm the king of the world. And the first thing that my father told me was, go ahead and book a property. So Kothur was a developing area. So in Dhanukar Colony, we bought a shop and 2 flats attached to it. And the remaining, I said, I am a stock market king, I should be investing in the stock market. So 1992, the reason why I am into the stock market, the whole credit goes to Harshad Mehta, no one else. Yeah, to be very honest. Then what happened was, I was sitting on a huge pile of cash, and my relatives, my friend circle, everyone was talking about how intelligent I am in the stock markets. Andar se malum tha main kya hu. I knew nothing about the stock markets. So suddenly I said I should read some books on stock market. So I went to Popular Bookstore in Deccan Gymkhana. The first 3 books that I picked up were all technical analysis. That time I did not know that there were 2 kinds of analysis, fundamental and technical. Luckily for me, technical analysis is what I picked up. And I started reading them. Now this is knowledge that I was gathering. Now this is something that is very interesting. I was gathering knowledge, and with this knowledge I was now investing. Till now it was someone else's telling me and I was investing. Now it was my decision that I was going to take, and informed decisions. I started taking them, and first loss, second loss.